Hello and welcome to Hazelmere, where it's sort of a bit sunny and a bit cloudy. The sun's just come out at the moment and oh, why don't you just off? This is a field I don't often walk on, and unlike all of the other fields, it's the smallest of all the fields I usually go out walking on, and it's the only one that isn't really cultivated very much or cut back. But what it does have that none of the other fields have got is spindle trees. Now, you don't see spindle trees so much these days, but look at the colour of the seeds on these things. Bright pink, look at the colour, aren't they fabulous? And when they burst open, the actual seed inside is a luminous orange. I'll photograph it in a week or so and show you. But yeah, spindle trees. Now the reason they're called spindle trees is because the stems grow very, very straight and the wood is very, very hard. So consequently, they were used a lot for making the spindles on, spinning machines and things like that in the past. Coming up to another spindle tree, and this one sits out more in the sun, so it's a little bit more developed, and it's absolutely loaded with berries. Look at this, absolutely loaded this year. What a glorious colour, look at that, absolutely fantastic. The whole tree is covered from the end of each branch right down basically to the stem with these beautiful berries, and there's one here. If you can see it, it's just starting to open. You can see that bright orange seed that's inside. Can you see that? It's a wonderful, pretty tree, and it's a shame there aren't more of them in the countryside. Now that one's open a little bit more, and you can start to see the orange seeds inside. See what I mean about the pink outside and the sort of day glow orange interiors? Beautiful, aren't they? Beautiful. Oh, it's gone under the leaf there, you can't see it. There, look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Something a little bit different today. I've come into my workplace. Yep. Would you believe this mad person who goes for walks, eating the hedgerows and making weird sculptures is actually a university lecturer? But I am. Buckinghamshire University. This is me. This is my campus. And that's a monument to the furniture industry, apparently. This little video made by BNU itself shows the atrium space that we have. It's an amazing room, and I'm looking forward to actually speaking in it soon, because we've got the first ever High Wycombe Paranormal Convention coming up in a couple of weeks, and I'm one of the speakers. That'll be fun. And the atrium you saw just now, this is the view from above. It's got like 2 glass panels in the roof, and this is the view from above. But we've also got a roof garden, and this is the view from my department's office. Well, that was a set of exciting meetings. Now I'm going to go home and walk my dog. And the sun's out. Just on the ground up ahead of me, there are 3 magpies, probably a family, probably a paired couple and their youngster. And how does the old rhyme go? 1 for sorrow, 2 for joy, 3 for a girl, 4 for a boy. 3 for a girl. A bit confusing. One of my daughters is about to have a baby in about 4 weeks' time, but we know that's a boy. Oh, hang on, there's a 4th one behind the tree. So the old tradition must be true. So they've chased the jay out the tree, and there's at least 3 magpies in that tree now. There's an old British folk tradition that says that if you see a single magpie, you should say, "Hello, Mr. Magpie, how's the wife and kids?" Or, alternatively, "Hello, Mrs. Magpie, how's the old man and kids?" I know people who are very scientifically minded, people who don't believe in God, who don't believe in fairies or Loch Ness Monster, and they still do this because it's just become absolutely fixed as part of their cultural heritage and their everyday behaviours. The same sort of people who knock on wood or touch wood, still employ those old behaviours even though they do nothing, but nevertheless it's so ingrained in them that they always do it. The magpies have led me to this lovely crabapple tree. Now, we don't really celebrate crab apples very much in this country, but they were very important to our ancestors because these were the only kind of apples that there were. I mean, we've bred lots of sweet varieties now, but these sour old crab apples were all they had back in the day. And if they were stored properly, they'd see them through the winter. This particular tree is notable because it's got several big bunches of mistletoe growing inside it, like that one there. And there's another one a little bit further up, which you can possibly just see in there. And there's the last couple of crab apples up there. I think most of them have fallen now. So as I said, it was a very important tree for our ancestors, and certainly in some parts of the Celtic world, to cut down an apple tree was a very serious offence, sometimes punishable by death. It was one of the most sacred trees. Another King Alfred's cake there, growing on this field maple. I think this may be the first red holly berries I've seen this year. I saw a few when they were green, but I think these are the first red ones I've seen. Oh, that's looking Christmassy, isn't it? Autumn's definitely on the way. Well, they've now blocked off the wildlife pond completely. You might remember I said in a previous video that the idea was to plant it now with plants. Oh, dragonfly, lovely big dragonfly zooming around, which is exactly the sort of thing we want near this wildlife pond. So planting it up with weeds at the moment, and then when they're all firmly bedded in, they should survive the winter, and we might get some wildlife in there next spring. Tadpoles, newts, dragonflies, beetles, all that sort of thing. So it's all rather nice. I like this time of year. A little gust of wind and the leaves start falling, and you've got those wonderful colours, all those yellows and browns and golds and dark greens and reds. And the very best trees, it seems to me, or at least some early leaf droppers, are the cherry trees, where you get leaves with these extraordinary colours like this. Isn't it beautiful? And look at the red. Look how vibrant the red is. It's beautiful, isn't it? A couple of years ago I took this photograph with my phone. Now there's no filters here, there's no effects, there's no nothing. It was literally that colour leaf sitting on a fairly monotonous background. It was one of my favourite photographs I took that year, but it just again demonstrates just how wonderful it is this time of year. A little bit more blushing on the cherry galls. I haven't seen any that have gone properly red yet. Let's have a look around. These ones are a little bit out of the sun here, tucked away underneath. If you can even see them. There they are, yeah. No, none of them going properly red yet. They will. Oh, these ones are in the sun more. These are starting to blush red, look. They will go properly red, which is why they call them cherry galls, I suppose. Makes sense, doesn't it? Two little ones down here. One of them blushing red, the other one seems to have died. See, the Guelder rose is now going into its autumn colours, all fading from green to red. Still a good crop of berries on there. Look at those. Yeah, this is Guelder rose, viburnum. The berries are edible, sort of. You need to cook them, so you can use them in jam, you know, and you have to add quite a lot of sugar because they're very bitter. I have tried eating them raw before, just one. Didn't give me an upset tummy, but the taste wasn't great. So there you go, that's the Guelder rose. Not a rose at all. It's actually more closely related to maples and sycamores and things like that, as you can probably guess from the shape of the leaves. Yeah, but look how those colours are starting to change. Look, beautiful. A bit like if you've got an acer in your garden, the way your acers are turning from green to red, because acers are also in the same family of plant. In fact, isn't the other name for an acer a Japanese maple? I think it is. I think it is. Fantastic tangle of roots there. All parts of a living tree system. It's great, isn't it? Come on, we're going this way today. Got this pile of logs and twigs here, and it's only when you look closely you realise that this is actually metal. Looks like it's part of a wheelbarrow or something like that. But it's in amongst all these twigs and things. You hardly notice it. It's even taken on the colours of the wood around it because of the rust, corrosion. A few more 100 years it'll be rotted back into the soil. what looks like pretty little stalactites on the underneath of this cherry tree. That's gummosis. That's a sign the tree is a bit poorly, but quite pretty to see, especially when the light's coming through it. Ever seen this stuff growing? It grows everywhere. It's called ribwort plantain, and the reason I mention it is because you probably played games when you were kids, you know, sort of flicking their heads at people. But what you may not have done is eaten them. See, ribwort plantain tastes like mushrooms. They honestly taste like mushrooms. And if you get a whole bunch of them, rather than eating them raw like this, you know, which is an acquired taste, get a bunch of them, boil them up in a pan, and you can make a mushroom flavoured stock, which is great for adding to things like risottos and things. There you go. Not many berries now left on the rowan tree. You know, I don't think there's a single leaf left on that rowan tree now. Just a few berries left for the birds to pick off, and then that'll be it done for the year. This is quite nice. One of the guys who helps look after these fields found this old bench recently, or the bench ends, the metal bits, being thrown away. So he thought, I'm not having that. So a few new bolts, a few new bits of wood, and a bit of concrete on the ground there for it to be bolted into so that no one can steal it or ruin it. And we've got a nice bench to sit on. Wonderful, isn't it? I've said before, the community here is lovely. Another jay just on the ground over there by that tree that I won't be able to film because he'll run away before I get anywhere near him. There he goes, there he goes. Beautiful bird, beautiful birds. Love jays. I'm getting my car valeted at the moment, and it's quite an interesting little spot. It's on the edge of some farmland, and there's a nice little country lane with a big industrial estate behind me. But what's really sad is what's in front of me in the other direction. That, sadly, is a factory farm, a CAFO, a concentrated animal feed operation. Inside those sheds there will be hundreds of thousands of chickens that will never see the light of day, and will never get to go out on these fields and do all the things that chickens should be doing, you know, eating insects and seeds and living a normal life. And then they'll be slaughtered after just a month of life. 33 days I think is the average, just to feed our insatiable appetite for fast food and cheap supermarket chicken. It's a disgrace really in a country that's supposed to be made up of animal lovers. I mean, I'm not a vegetarian and I'm not a vegan, but I do believe that we should be treating animals better. As is often the case with these industrial estates, you quite often find little footpaths that lead off the back of them, and you can actually go exploring, which is something I like to do. Crab apples. Actually, they don't look like crab apples, these look like eating apples. Yeah, apple tree just above me here. They look quite nice, don't they? Anyway, not going to pick one up, but let's go on and explore a little bit further, see where this actually leads me. Well, this is where this path led me. It's just a farm field. Obviously it's walked quite a lot, judging by the track that goes round from where I've emerged and the path across the fields there. And it's a nice piece of farmland, bit of countryside. Not much else to report about it, but other than the fact it's still a bit foggy and misty, and you've got that bright morning sun. No, I shall head back into the path again and go and pick my car up. Still, always worth exploring, you never know what you're going to find. And that's it for another week. Toodle pip. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing. Or click on some of these links to look at some of the other videos on the channel. Or press the like button. Or leave a comment. It would be lovely to hear from you. Any combination of those four things would be wonderful. Thank you very much.